Goal! Yes, 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 yes! That was a goal! Striker! Eat that! And another! Bing bang, stick it in! Thank you and good night!
Twat! That was liquid football!
Shit! Did you see that?
Hello everybody, it's your old friends at Monday Madness and welcome to a special presentation from the That Was Liquid Football podcast. So we are coming live from our respective bunkers yet again because the plague is still out there and it's still trying to kill us as of time of recording. But as of time of recording, we're still alive and unplagued, so that's good.
Indeed.
Or technical issues.
Yeah, well, yeah, we're being plagued by technical issues. That is a very different thing.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. So, in case you missed last week's edition, we did a special podcast with Rian of the Hallway Wrestling Podcast, where we tried to craft the ultimate Liverpool team based off whoever played for them in the Premier League. And now, guys, it's time for you to take over. This is the Arsenal Ultimate 11. So, I can imagine you've had a lot of practice, a lot of thought put into this. Are you looking forward to whatever team that you'll have to create based out of 5 Invincibles and everyone else?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So, Burkebot, obviously you haven't listened to the previous podcast because, you know, time warps and all that. So, the way it works is that I'm after pooling all the squad data from the last 30 years of the Premier League, collated what was the most common players from each of the seasons, and then split the those years into generations. So essentially you'll have a choice of a player for each position from each generation, and we put it into the whichever formation we choose from. The thing is that you can only pick a certain number from each generation, so you can only pick a maximum of 5. Yeah.
Right, I didn't know this caveat, and I'm going to have to change everything.
Yes, I know. This is the fun part, because you're going to have to put at least 1 or 2 traders into that team.
No.
I know. So,
That's what I was aiming not to do.
okay, so just to confirm, if in case anyone else hasn't listened to the previous podcast, Generation 1 will consist of the 92-93 season to 97-98. Generation 2 is 98-99 to 03-04. I don't think there was anything significant in that period at all, so that's fine. Generation 3 is... it's a good thing because she's too low for me to hear. Generation 3 is 04-05 to 09-10. And Gen 4 is 10-11 to 14-15. And then Gen 5 is the recent lot, which is 15-16 to 19-20. Or at least what has happened in that season. So... I guess the best way for us to start is to choose a formation. What do you guys think is the peak Arsenal formation?
I went with a 4-4-2.
Yeah, I think we're both going for 4-4-2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's grand because that means I don't have to change my spreadsheet. So that leads us straight on then to the first category we have to choose from, which is goalkeeper. So, by the way, obviously I was an expert on the Liverpool players, so I'm not quite on par with the Arsenal players, so feel free to make any changes here. But your candidates for goalkeeper are from Generation 1, David Seaman. Seaman actually covers in Gen 2 as well, so we'll skip that. In Generation 3, you have a choice of Jens Lehmann and Manuel Almunia. Generation 4 is Wojciech Szczesny, and Gen 5 is Peter Cech. Bernd Leno hasn't been in the team long enough to make the cut, so you have a choice of those 5. Who do you have and why?
Well, out of that selection, it's only Lehmann goes in first.
Okay.
Probably one of the best, with Seaman as the sub keeper, because again, as with the Liverpool team, for the bench, I went with the usual rules of you need a sub keeper. So my one would be Layman in goal with Seaman on the bench.
Interesting. Burkebot, what would you have as your goalkeeper?
Well, with this new caveat rule of not having more than one generation, I'm going to put David Seaman on the starting lineup and Jens Lehmann on the bench.
Ooh, division. Clear the lobby. I love it.
Kane Fall.
I grew up watching David Seaman and his iconic ponytail, which I also had a ponytail. And my dad tried to grow out a mustache like him and have a ponytail like him, and purely just to wreck my head, like for no other reason. So he holds a special place in my heart for that.
You see, the weird thing is, I can imagine your dad trying that. I can imagine your dad trying that, and he ends up like he's aiming for David Seaman, but he ends up looking like fucking Tiger King. You know what I mean? Like it's.
I'll dig out some of the photos.
Please don't.
I'll let you judge.
No,
you're all right. Cheers, thanks.
No, leave them in the fucking time capsule that they're in now.
Fair enough.
Thanks for the offer, I guess.
So you're the casting vote then?
I am the casting vote, and this is the troublesome part because, this is gonna sound harsh, but I never really rated Jens Lehmann.
What?
Yeah, I know. This is the weird thing. I have this kind of thing with players that I have certain blind spots, right? And that's not to say that they're great players. Like I can imagine I'm getting nuked right now by people listening. It's just that in different teams, they're the kind of players I kind of forgot about, if you know what I mean, or just never remembered. And Lehmann was kind of like that category.
Jens Lehmann is one pretty fucking big blind spot.
It's a huge blind spot. I'll agree. I agree with you on that. But I have one for every single team. There's always one I miss or I just don't consider. It's very odd, but I can only really go for Seaman. Like, Seaman makes the most sense. I think he was a fantastic keeper for you for so long. Like, he was practically the squad in the team for 10, 12 years, and that was even before the Premier League. He's a stalwart.
It wasn't a case of Seaman not being a good keeper. It's just Lehmann would be my first Invincible in there, you know.
True. So yeah, I guess that would put David Seaman into the team. But yeah, we can certainly have the argument for Lehmann later on. So
well, if I'm like, given the fact that myself and Burkebot only really went for either Lehmann and Seaman, so I reckon we can eliminate Szczesny, Czech, and Almunia. I suppose if Leno was actually in the list, you could have the argument there.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I personally think Leno's a fantastic fucking goalkeeper. I really like him.
Yeah,
but
that's fine, yeah.
I don't think there's any real argument over if Seaman.
I don't know. What about Spina?
Just for the chant alone. Although, in all fairness, now, during the Liverpool one, who made it in because what was the stupid fucking reason somebody got put on?
Oh, I think we included the way we worked the subs bench was that we had what was the best of the rest for each of the positions.
Oh, the special mentions, yeah.
And the special mentions. So we allowed everyone to have like a fan favourite. So Rian would have picked Divock Origi, and I would have picked.
Oh yeah, he picked
Dirk
fucking
Kuyt.
Origi. He picked Origi, and I was like, what?
Again, slightly out of context, in fairness, but however, I think it'll make sense once you listen back to it.
But in any case, I think like if Seaman's going in between the actually starting, you can't have anybody else but Lehmann on the bench, and vice versa.
Yeah, I think that's a fair argument. I think we might just throw Lehmann onto the bench now just to save us time.
Yeah, I do that because there's no argument.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Awesome. That moves us on then to our back four, and we're going to start off with our right backs like we did last time. Really cutting through the generations here, lads. Check this out. So, Generation 1 has a pundit, Lee Dixon. He was also in Generation 2, but he was surpassed then by Lauren, followed up then by Emmanuel Eboué in Generation 3. Generation 4 was Bakary Sagna, and Generation 5 is the current hipster's favourite, Hector Bellerin. So, Burkebot, you can take lead on this one. Who's your favourite right back out of all them?
I think this is gonna be fairly straightforward. I love Lee Dixon.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'd have gone with Lee Dixon as well.
Okay, that's interesting.
No, you could make the argument for maybe Bakary Sagna, because
Yes.
he was quite good. He was very, very fucking good for us. But no, Lee Dixon was brilliant. You know.
Yeah, like Lee Dixon was now a good bit behind my time, but I can imagine like he was. I'd say he was quite the player for you guys. All right.
Oh no, he was a stalwart.
I just love like his stories from back in the day, and like his just passion. Like you can just see he was fucking riled up all the time, and I think that's something like we've said loads of times on different podcasts that our defense don't really have that kind of fucker that will just fuck you up, and you know, apart from Mustafi who just fucks up everything, but like Lee Dixon would just go in like he was pure passion player. So yeah, that's why he goes in for me.
All right. No, I think I'm fair. For what it was worth, I would have picked Sanya out of that category. But yeah, I think Dixon's a fair shout. So he'll go in. That leaves us down with the opposite flank, the left backs. Again, really cutting through the generations here. Generation 1 offers you Nigel Winterburn and his 1 foot. Generation 2 offers up Ashley Cole. Generation 3 is Gail Clichy. Generation 4, would you believe, Kieran Gibbs. And Generation 5 then, that makes a cut just from the longevity, is Nacho Monreal. So Nacho Man again. Again, I feel free to shout me out here, but surely Ashley Cole wins this.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I don't like the guy either, but I have to admit we've probably not produced a better left back in Jesus, fucking years. I'm really struggling. I'm really struggling to come up with a better left back than Ashley Cole.
Look, I had Gail Clichy down.
Ooh.
He was a left footer, and at the time that I was like obviously the Invincible team, I was playing left back, and yeah, I just kind of looked up to him. He was like the first person because I absolutely refused to look at Ashley Cole. She was one of my heroes growing up, which is kind of sad.
Now, was he one of your heroes because he just outright wasn't Ashley Cole?
Maybe. That could very much be the case.
Like for what it's worth, Clichy was certainly a candidate, and I think what really helped him out was the fact he broke into the team so young. Like correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't he 17 when he had his first start?
Yeah, no, he was real young.
Yeah, like his first season was with the Invincibles.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
No, he was 80. Hang on, actually, he is the youngest player ever to win a Premier League medal. What was his age? He was 18 years and 10 months.
Fucking hell. Not bad going for an 18-year-old.
No. To go your very, very first season at the age of 18, completely unbeaten. He was the backup to Ashley Cole. So.
Yeah, that's a fair shout. So, unfortunately, Burkebot, you are outvoted here. It's going to be Ashley Cole that goes in.
That's okay.
Yep.
I figured.
It seemed like an obvious choice, but like I don't think there's any shame in admitting that. Like he was a brilliant player, by all accounts.
Yeah, there was a reason why the cunts like Chelsea were so underhand and adamant to get him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you know, to the point where like they were actually charged by the FA over how they tapped them up.
Indeed. In fact,
and he turned out to be a massive prick anyway. So you know.
Yeah, that's true as well. Yeah.
You know, but what one did lead into the other, I find. Like, I think once he went to Chelsea, he turned heel. You know, kind of way. Like he was able to. It was a complete character change. Like he turned into the dark side.
Well, he can't do anything else playing under Jose Mourinho.
This is true. Yeah, it comes with the territory. So yeah, that's a fullback sorted. Now this is a fun part. The centre backs. So a class of 8 to.
We still need to sign some.
You've got 8 centre backs already, but you still need more. That's how bad it is. Actually, a class of mine, technically. I actually did call this list, I remember. Generation 1 offers you 3 choices, which are Steve Bold, Tony Adams, and Martin Keown. Keown also appears in Generation 2, but he's flanked with Sol Campbell. Generation 3 gives us the dream team, if you will, of William Gallas and Colo Torre. Generation 4 gives us Lauren Koscielny and Per Mertesacker. And the only centre-back to make the cut from longevity in the most current gen is Mustafi.
I knew he's straight in for me.
Yes, straight
In the bin.
straight
Yeah.
straight in, sliding on his fucking arse.
Okay, so I think like we're going to eliminate Mustafi here. Who else do you think doesn't make the cut?
Koscielny.
Interesting.
Tony Adams doesn't make the cut for me either.
Big call.
Ooh.
Big call,
Okay.
but I think you're right.
My two centre back. Sorry, yeah, go.
Jump in and say like, Koscielny did make it in for me,
Ooh.
but at the expense of Adams.
Ah.
Interesting.
That's funny, because my two centre back choices are Keown and Campbell.
I have Campbell.
Wow, you can't not. I mean, he like
I mean, what?
you can't not have Sol Campbell in there. He's imperious. I mean, like, even people from other teams are going, that guy was the fucking bomb.
Yeah, he was just. I'm watching The Wire at the minute, and he reminds me of Stringer Bell and just like this big guy who just deals with everything.
Wow, what
And
a fucking great comparison. Holy shit, I never
Sol
thought of it
Campbell.
before. Yeah.
Sol Campbell, the Stringer Bell of centre backs.
I'd like to think that Idris Elba like based his character Stringer Bell off Sol Campbell.
If only
Cool,
Elba
collected.
supported Arsenal, it would have made all sense.
Doesn't he?
I don't think so. I think
Does
does he?
he was in our Adidas launch video?
Was he?
Yeah, he's a
Okay.
massive gunner.
Okay, fair. No, that's fine. I think I might be confusing him for someone else then.
Well, he is from Hackney. Like,
Oh, that makes sense then. Yeah.
can't get any more fucking central London than that.
Blood. Yeah. Okay. Okay. In terms of getting rid of players, I think Gallas, Bold, and Torre would make the cut. Like the choice I would have picked would have been a 4 of Adams, Keown, Campbell, and Koscielny. So I would definitely put Campbell in. I think he's probably the best out of that bunch. But Keown and Koscielny now is the tricky part. Like, if Koscielny was a bit more fitter, I would have probably thrown him in here. But and Tony Adams, I think Tony Adams' like best years were like before the Premier League, really. Like he was
Yeah.
old by that point. Like, so I guess it's Campbell and Keown.
Woo!
Okay, yeah, I'm happy with that.
Now, the one thing I'd say here, gents, is that, and lady as well, we have used up 3 of the Invincibles so far. So keep that in mind, lads.
Okay.
Yeah. So numbers are going to get short going up into the midfield and strikers. So choose wisely. Speaking of which, now this I think is going to be the interesting section, the midfield. So you guys have a choice. Yes, this is tough because you have a choice of 4 midfielders here, okay? But much like the last podcast, I've kind of separated the midfielders into defensive, central, and attacking. So we'll just throw them out, and then we might just eliminate them as we go, and then whatever we're left with is our midfield. I think that's fair enough, isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, for the record, do you know what? I'll throw in our wingers here as well because we're going to be playing with 2 strikers. So.
Can I just say on my list that you've done out for us so kindly before this podcast,
Thank you.
I'm missing one of the guys who is in my 11.
Okay.
Who's that?
Like, I'm just double checking it's not there, but no.
It could be because my kind of a criteria was there. He had to be like the top appearances for 3 years, and then he makes a cut. That was the kind of criteria I had. So it could be the case. He was like maybe there for 2 years and then left.
Santi Cazorla?
No, Cazorla's there.
Cazorla's there, yeah.
Oh no, actually he's not. I had to type him in on my one. I just remembered that.
Oh. Yeah, you're right. Actually, yeah, that's true. He should be
Okay.
there.
He should be
Okay.
He should be on the AM
AMs, yeah.
column.
I knew I missed. Yeah, perfect. Thank
Okay,
you for
that-
letting me know.
I only did that because he's actually in my team as well.
Yay!
Interesting. Well, brief spoiler there, but let's get back on track. So, so yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to lump in the wingers into this role, into this position as well. So I suppose, like, from the midfielders, you could throw in a wide player here if you want to. We'll see how it goes. So in terms of defensive midfielders, we'll start off with nothing from Generation 1. Generation 2, though, gives Patrick Vieira. Generation 3 gives us Matthew Flamini and Gilberto Silva. Generation 4 gives us no DMs, while Generation 5 gives us Granit Xhaka. So that's your choice of 4. Then you have a quite plentiful choice in central midfielders. So Generation 1 gives you the Romford Pele, Ray Parlour, and John Jensen. Ray Parlour also appears in Generation 2. Generation 3 gives you Cesc Fabregas. Generation 4 then is a choice of Aaron Ramsey and Mikel Arteta and Jack Wilshere, and then followed up then by Generation 5, who also is Aaron Ramsey. So I guess no central midfielders from Generation 5. Your attacking midfielders then is a class of David Platt from Generation 1, Freddie Ljungberg from Generation 2, nothing from Generation 3, but then you have Thomas Rosicky and Santi Cazorla from Generation 4, and lastly, Mesut Ozil from Generation 5. So, interesting class there. And then, again, we'll lump into the wide players. So, our right midfielders and wingers, you have Paul Merson from Generation 1, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain from Generation 4, and Theo Walcott also would be classified as a right winger. Then on the left side, you have Robert Pires from Generation 2, and Alexis Sanchez from Generation 5. Oh, and of course, how can I forget, Alex Iwobi also qualifies for this as well, as a left midfielder. So you have a pretty big class to go for there. So the best way to do it is probably just to chalk off the ones that just aren't going to make the cut.
Well, Wiltshire isn't going to make the cut.
Okay.
Ozil isn't. The Ox
Ooh.
and Walcott, they aren't.
I agree with all of these so far.
I disagree with Ozil.
What?
Yeah, I disagree with Ozil.
You high on crack, mate?
A little bit, yeah, because, like, do you know what it is? I think it's because of the class he's in, but, like...
Sorry, I thought you were going in to explain why you're high on crack.
Okay, that's for a different podcast.
All right. Xhaka as well, get rid of him.
Yeah.
Flamini, get rid of Flamini.
Yeah, fair.
Why is Flamini?
Why is Xhaka, in fairness?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're excluding the Ox and Walcott. That's fair enough.
Merson as well. I'd get rid of Merson as well.
Magic Merson, no. Okay.
No.
Who else? You see, it's already starting to get a bit tough because I would
go so far and I would scrub Arteta from that as well. I do quite like him as a player, but, like, let's face it, like, in a toss up between Fabregas and Arteta, who the fuck are you gonna pick?
Yeah, that's a fair assessment. I'd probably also suggest scrubbing Jensen and Platt.
In all fairness, I'd scrub all of those CMs bar Fabregas. There's no way you'd pick anybody else above him. He was just he was an elite tier player.
Ooh, I sense some resistance from Burkebot.
I had on my sheet that I scribbled down earlier on, I have the CM as a slash. I couldn't pick between Ramsey or Seth.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
Mambo would be good maybe off the bench.
Yeah, we do have spaces on the bench, in fairness. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
we can-
Then I'd go Fabregas, but then doesn't that cut into our Invincibles?
it doesn't. He is Generation 3.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, Fabregas isn't an invincible.
Yeah.
Well, he was there that season, but yeah.
So he won't count for that then. So yeah, I guess the first thing we can do is we can confirm Fabregas for the midfield. I think that's the
Okay.
safest thing to do.
And Cazorla.
And Cazorla, we both agreed on that.
Yeah, we both agreed on Cazorla.
Okay, so will I have him then as the attacking midfielder then,
Yeah.
in lieu of Ozil? Okay, interesting. Very, very interesting.
You'd have gone for Ozil, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, I would have picked Ozil. I think like because I remember I'm just remembering the season where like he does. I know it's I don't know if he's I know he's much maligned a little bit now, at least by the people who watch him. But like he is such an incredibly talented player, and I know Santi Cazorla is that level as well. But I just like when I compare the two, like I don't think anyone has the same skill set that Ozil has. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. But like he doesn't pull it out. Like like that's just it. Like you look at how great Cazorla was, and granted, the only reason Cazorla didn't have vastly more assists is because he had to play all the way back, alongside Coquelin, because Coquelin can't pass the ball. So that was it. Like he had to literally do two players' work. So he was like, "Look, Coquelin, you go tackle every motherfucker, and just get the ball to me. Don't worry about passing it to a winger or a fullback or a fucking whoever the fuck. Just get it to me.
Yeah.
And I'll do it. And I'll do it myself." And Cazorla had to do that, and he did that for like fucking season after season. I'm like, he wasn't with us for very long. But like there was never a season where he wasn't brilliant.
Okay.
Here. I love the magician.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. Again, this is
And it's very clearly it is very clearly genetic, as myself and Burkebot saw, because his kid is going to be fucking awesome.
The skills on that child would make grown men weep.
It actually pretty much did that day as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so we still have two spaces on the midfield available. So again, I'll just see now what we have left. So we still have a conversation between Vieira and Gilberto Silva for DM. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, we will. Yeah.
Okay. So central midfielders, Ramsey, Parler, and Jensen are still available, or are we cutting them?
Oh, cut them.
Going in, then Ramsey's cut.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're gone completely. So then in terms of our attacking midfielders, then you still have a class of Platt, Ljungberg, Rosicky, and Ozil.
I have Rosicky in my team.
Ooh.
I have Rosicky on the bench.
Okay.
Ooh.
I have. He is my special mention player, purely for that one goal he scored against Spurs in the first minute. Because I remember I was in a pub watching that game. I think there was nobody else in because it was like a 12:30 kickoff, and it was just me pretty much on my own, and the match had just kicked off because he scored that in like 50 something seconds, where the ball just comes to him and he runs and he's expecting the team to run with him, and nobody really does except I think it's either Arteta or Walcott or somebody like that he does a quick 1-2 with, and they don't track him with the 1-2, so he's just like, fuck it, I'll just do it myself, and absolutely murders the ball into the net. Like the sound of him hitting that ball, like it's a thwack. Like it actually sounds, you know in hurling when somebody really gets the slitter really well, you're thinking, holy shit, that thing's going into orbit. Like that was it. I can remember the sound. Out of all of the things, I could remember the sound, because obviously there was nobody else in the pub, so the pub was dead silent and the sound was up, and I could just remember the thwack of it. And even Loris, who was, by the way, completely sighted, had full view of the ball from the path of the ground off Rosicki's foot into the goal. So he wasn't as if it curved around the defender. It didn't. He just twacks it with the outside of his foot, bends it round the far post, and holy shit, it was a brilliant goal. And then we clung on. Then we clung on like fucking barnacles for the whole of that match, because that goal so incensed Spurs that they kitchen sinked us for 89 minutes afterwards.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, okay. Well, we'll keep Rosicky in the conversation. So
you can't not. I mean, he was just a pure mercurial talent. I love Rosicky. If seriously, like, when people go, if Arsenal fans, if you could pick one player that never got injuries, which one would it be? And everybody always everybody always thinks, oh, Wiltshire. For me, it's not. It's Rosicky.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Rosicky
Yeah.
was one of those players that, like, if it all worked out well, he would be in club folklore if he's not already, of course.
Oh no, he definitely is. But like the reason why he was able to play football, like because he only left Arsenal like when he was in his mid-30s.
Yeah.
The reason why, and that was at a point where like players didn't really get to their mid-30s, particularly not midfielders. The reason why he was able to play so late in his life is because he was injured so fucking often. He'd never really played any football.
Yeah. Burkebot, if out of the list we have so far, so we are keeping Rosicky in the conversation. We're still got Platt, Ljungberg, and Ozil in play here. So who would you call out of this?
Ozil and Platt.
Okay. That I think that's a fair debate then between Rosicky and Ljungberg. So in that case, then we still have left midfielders and wingers to talk about. You have a choice of Robert Perez and Alexis Sanchez. Would they get into this team?
I went with Sanchez.
Oh.
Don't get me wrong, Robert Perez makes me confused. But no, I mean, I just remember the imperious Sanchez season where, what is it, like across all competitions, he scored something like 31 goals and had 14 assists.
His debut season, as I recall.
Yeah. So you're just sitting there going, oh my fucking God.
Yeah.
And we literally burned him out for 3 seasons and then handed this fucking husk over to Manchester United.
Great stuff, yeah. Great stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I mean, he's a brilliant player with a lot of hashtag banter tacked on.
Now, what we could do with Sanchez, because like we're obviously playing this kind of 4-4-2 system, we can kind of lump him in with the strikers, but it is a fairly top-heavy class as it is. So,
come on, man! Have you not seen the Liverpool team we put together? Fuck
I know
me.
that, yeah.
It's the very definition of top-heavy.
Well, my argument is that like we only have space for 2 strikers in this formation, where like with how this Arsenal team is set up, you could make space for 5. Like it's that sort of type of deal.
Also, the thing is, I went for Sanchez purely because I didn't want to use. I was down to my last 2 Invincibles slots, and I didn't want Perez taking one up.
Yeah, it's a fair argument. I suppose then we might go back then and decide then who. So you have the 2, and we have, as it were, maybe a choice of 5 midfielders, which is Vieira, Silva, Ljungberg, Rosicky, and Sanchez. So, Burkebot, who would you pick?
On my original sheet before I knew about these dang blasted rules,
Those eyes.
had Vieira down first, / Gilberto Silva.
I think Vieira is a
So, I
fair
went
shout,
with
isn't
Vieira.
it? Yeah.
Vieira has to go in. Vieira has to go in. Like, oh my god, I sat down with my baby cousin and tried to get him as his first words to say Patrick Vieira, because to make him as obsessed with him as I was. There's like video camcorder footage of me with this baby, got Patrick Vieira.
It's funny because I thought you would have gone Ospina, but here we are.
Not yet.
Not
No,
yet. No.
Patrick Vieira has to get into any Arsenal midfield. I'm sorry.
I'd have to agree with that. I'm surprised he wasn't the first in, to be honest. So, I guess Vieira goes in, which means then we only have 1 slot free then for another Invincible, which is
that was my thing about it as well. Like we've only 1 Invincible left.
Okay, so
yeah.
So then
that's why I went for I put Silva in.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Because Gilberto was a fucking superb DM.
Perhaps so. He was very good. Again, it's one of those players where like I remember Vieira first, if you know what I mean. Like he's a more
everybody remembers Vieira first.
Yeah, I know, and like he's that player. Like we keep making this argument, but like you literally have not been able to replace this player. Like it's just been, no matter how much you've tried, he has been like that one player you've always missed since he left. and it's very
Well,
noticeable.
actually, I'd say Gilberto is the player that we've missed the most since they left. Because we
Yeah.
never replaced Gilberto. Like, Gilberto was kind of there to replace Vieira. I'm not saying he was brought in because he was already in the squad and things, but he kind of took over that defensive midfielder enforcer role, and we haven't had that
Since then,
So, yeah, I would throw Gilberto then. If we're going through that logic, then Gilberto gets in.
It's the thing. I'm not sure if I'm comfortable with Vieira missing
Being on the
out.
bench.
Yeah, it doesn't look right. Like it seems wrong.
Imagine telling Patrick Vieira, "Sorry, man, you're on the bench."
Exactly. Like
it.
it doesn't look right. That's the problem. Like it's so weird to me. Like my idea of the Arsenal midfield is so different without him, with him out of it. You know. It's tricky. All right. Like
Do you get the final decision then, Jonathan?
I have to keep Vieira. Which would mean then, I guess, it's a choice, because that means Ljungberg is either going to be out of the team, or like you're going to have to make some very hard decisions for your strikers, which I don't think you will.
Wait a minute. We both went with Silva, so that means he's in.
I am outvoted, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's it then. Gilberto was in instead of Patrick Vieira. Jesus.
Vieira goes to the bench. Vieira's definitely on the bench.
Okay, yeah. We can all agree on that. Vieira is there.
Yeah.
He politic his way there regardless.
But all this if this team was actually fielded and all this hubris blew up in our faces, he'd be there. He'd be like, yeah, look, Patrick, we fucked up. Get on there and sort this out.
Exactly, yeah. He's like he's a sub you always make at 30 minutes. Just so you can get around the loophole.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so we have three midfielders so far, which is Gilberto, Cesc, and Cazorla. We still have space for one more. So again, we would assume Vieira is being excluded because of invincible spacing, which means I guess Ljungberg is excluded as well. So it's down to Alexis and Rosicky.
I have Alexis with Rosicky on the bench.
I have Rosicky.
Ooh. You see, so I'm deciding vote.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any contest here. I think it's Sanchez. He's just like he was a player that we were looking for as well. And I think we were very close to signing him. And then whatever happened, he went to Arsenal instead. And immediately when he was there, you could see why we were signing him. Like he was a fucking thunderbolt. And because he hit the ground running so fast at the Arsenal, I think that's what made it more impressive to me, because if I'm not mistaken, I think we might have tried to sign him as a Sterling replacement, and instead of signing him, we got Jordan Ibe, which wasn't quite the replacement we were looking for. So yeah, I think it has to be Alexis. So
that decision's up there with us not going in full tilt for Eden Hazard and instead signing Gervinho.
Well, lads, can we just not acknowledge the existence of Danielson, of course, who was supposed to be the gatekeeper for the Arsenal teams to come, and of course, who can forget Mr. Fox in the box himself? And I mean, you can't really throw shade around when you have players like that in your midst. Okay, so we have a pretty killer midfield so far. Well, actually, the full team so far is David Seaman in goal, a back four of Lee Dixon, Ashley Cole, Martin Keown, and Sol Campbell. A midfield four then of Gilberto Silva in the number 6, Cesc Fabregas and Santi Cazorla, I suppose, in the number 8 roles, and then I guess you could argue the tip of the diamond is Alexis Sanchez, or maybe he's out left. I'd say that's a pretty fluid midfield.
Yeah, I put Sanchez out left.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
In that case, then,
Yeah, right.
yeah, Santi outright, yeah. In that case, then, that leaves us with our strikers. So this is interesting. This is going to get very, very interesting.
Bergkamp and Henry has to be.
You've only got space for one, Neil.
Do I not?
Yeah.
I thought that's the reason why we went with Silva rather than Vieira.
Okay, fair. Yeah, you do actually have space for 2, but I'll show you what the class is first, and then we'll see if there's space for anyone else. So, Generation 1, you've got 4 choices, would you believe? But I've only included 2 in the category. You have the choice of Ian Wright, Alan Smith, John Hartson, and Kevin Campbell. So out of that, I included Ian Wright, just because it's a pretty top-heavy class here. So,
Right.
so in Generation 4, you also have a fairly widespread choice. You've got Dennis Bergkamp, Thierry Henry, Kanu, of course, and Sylvain Wiltord. But for the purpose of this, it's Bergkamp, Henry, and Kanu in this category. Generation 3 offers up Robin Van Persie and Emmanuel Adebayor. But I'm sure you can understand, I've only included Van Persie in that situation.
Yeah.
I've also I just made a mistake there. I have Alan Smith in this category too. Sorry. So we also have Generation 4, only one candidate, that's Olivier Giroud. And Generation 5 then gives us Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and Alexander Lacazette. So it's a fairly wide open class, but just provisionally I have Wright, Bergkamp, Henry, Van Persie, Giroud, Aubameyang, Kanu, and Smith. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's probably that would be the ones that would at least be in the conversation.
Well, no, not really, because there's only two people in the conversation here, and that's Bergkamp and Henry.
Yep.
I would still say there's maybe a case for Aubameyang.
Not ahead of Henry.
No,
not ahead of Henry. Not ahead of Henry. No, Henry would be like the first in. This is the trouble now, because like Bergkamp is brilliant. Like we all know that. But imagine just having Aubameyang up with Henry. That's what I'm trying to picture here. Like you have a potential attacking trident of Sanchez, Aubameyang, and Henry. That's crazy.
That is a pretty sick front three.
But then again,
So Dennis Bergkamp. Sorry.
yeah. In fairness, like it's not you're not exactly losing out much there level wise. So I suppose if you guys are gonna go with those two, I am compelled to agree. So it is going to be Bergkamp and it's going to be Henry.
There was just not more. There was just no more lethal a duo for a prolonged period of time than those two.
And for Arsenal, yes, I think so. Like they were just so potent, and the fact that they had like so early on had that fear factor to them as well. That's what the scary part was. Like you could spend your entire day worrying about Bergkamp or Henry, and then the other person would score. You know, that kind of way. And even then, even with those two players, you could try your darndest to mark out those two players, and suddenly fucking Pires or Wiltord scores, or Kanu just lumps himself in there. You know, like they made it so hard for everyone else. So yeah, I'm compelled to agree. Obviously, wow, what a pretty good team, lads. Must be said. You've used up all your Invincibles, which is, you know, the name of the game, I guess. That's the whole point of this. So, yeah, pretty decent team all round, lads. Again, just to confirm, Seaman, Cole, Dixon, Keown, Campbell, Gilberto, Cazorla, Fabregas, Sanchez, and a front two, Jesus, of Henry and Bergkamp. But again, that could easily convert to a front three or front four or front five, whatever comes first.
Particularly when you consider that Cole and Dixon were kind of the archetypal attacking fullbacks as well.
Yeah, like, you know? Ashley Cole was the prototype attacking fullback we see now.
Yeah.
Especially with the crossing. The crossing was immaculate back then. So it was at this point then we argued about who the best manager is. I don't think there's any competition here, is there? Like, we have a choice. Well, yes, we have a choice of the George Graham, who's the very good with the ball spot. The Arsene Wenger, who is far better than I was, but I still have a job.
Evening. Good evening.
That was me. That's Unai Emery, who still is unemployed. And then they replaced me with some Spanish prick who has the coronavirus, so obviously I should have stayed, and so forth.
Yeah.
So I don't think. Surely there's no conversation here. Yeah, I think we can all agree on.
Man, they can't.
Yeah,
we all know it's Vic Akers.
Exactly. We all know it's George Graham. I'm just going to put it down here. It's grand. George Graham, solid 4-4-2, no nonsense defensive football. That's the Arsenal we all know and love. Of course, we're joking. It's Arsene Wenger. Stop deleting this podcast as you speak. So obviously with this team and everyone in their prime, this leaves us then spaces on the subs. So the way we did it last time, we basically had like a best of the rest for each position. So we've already agreed on Jens Lehmann for goalkeeper, Patrick Vieira for midfield. So like, you could argue maybe we have a space for defensive and attacking, and then we still have 3 spaces which are supposedly fan favourites, I guess, or players you just unconditionally loved. I wonder which one Burkebot's going to pick.
I was literally going to say, can you guess who I'm going to pick for that?
It's a real fucking mystery, and nobody will know until the end. Tune in next week to find out. But I suppose we better discuss then, which defender would you want to have on the bench?
So we've gone with Dixon, Cole, Keown, and Campbell.
Yeah. Now, just to be fair, clear, the conditions about like the maximum don't apply to the subs bench. So you can. This is a free swing. You can pick anyone you want, and it doesn't have to be players I've shortlisted. It can be just a player that you loved. So
I'm just trying to check my list now for my sub defenders that didn't get into the team here, and I've just gone off it. Well, Koscielny off the bench.
Yeah, I'd be okay with Koscielny being our...
Could I make a point for perhaps Mertesacker?
I love Pear. I love Big Pear. Again, for his great goal against Spurs. But Koscielny just...
Okay, no, I think the general vibe is Koscielny, so I think we'll include him.
Yeah, I wouldn't see Big Pear fitting in quite well with that back and anywhere in that back line, you know.
Yeah, I think so. I think him and Keown would just have headbutting competitions for like maybe 5 minutes, and they'd both die of concussion.
Yeah, I mean, but not in all, and as well, like I'm not saying that he wasn't a good defender. He was a great defender for us, and Jesus Christ, when he came in, we badly needed him.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, I'd go with Koscielny. Probably one of the better pure defenders we've had. Maybe Vermaelen. Vermaelen was great, but he just kept exploding.
Yeah. In fact, he was at the club so long. This is the weird quirk of doing the Arsenal statistics, was that you had a lot of players who were there for a long time, but because they were perpetually injured, they didn't make the cut for appearances. So like Abu Diaby was there for so long, but he doesn't make a list because he didn't play that many games. Likewise with Vermaelen. So yeah, I wouldn't have included Vermaelen anyway. I don't think he was up to scratch at all.
Oh no, Vermaelen was a great defender.
Yeah,
but he's just
glass. He was like worse than Glassman company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, also I would say almost a better defender when he played.
Ooh.
I when I was going through my list, I had him. I know I scratched him off fairly early, but I had him down on my original lineup of, I think I put down 25 players and then worked through it. But he was on my list originally. Yeah.
Interesting.
I would say a better defender than Company, but unbelievably, he was also saddled with an even worse injury history.
Yeah, that's fair.
And just where the injury's that bad, you're just not going to be able to do anything.
Yeah, that's exactly, and that's the problem. Like, because people only remember the injuries then, as opposed to what you were as a player, because that's the first thing that comes to mind then. So yeah, that's a fair assessment. So that leaves us down. So whatever striker or forward will we keep on the bench then? Like, again, this is a very interesting choices you have here. You've got Wrighty, you've got Van Persie, Aubameyang, Lacazette, Giroud. A lot of interesting choices here.
Well, I'm gonna just jump in and say Olivier Giroud is getting onto my bench, and he can get anywhere.
I don't think it's just the bench he's getting onto.
Just the bench, yeah.
Because I think at this rate he'd be getting on his face.
Mm-hmm.
But again, who wouldn't?
So, yeah, my bench, because we've not got Rosicky on the pitch, so I'd have Rosicky on my bench.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think maybe we've established the fan favourites then. So we've got Rosicky for Neil, Giroud for yourself, Burkebot, and then we have 2 spaces free, which I guess is for me. Jesus, that's a good question. Who do I love out of the Arsenal team?
Man, it's got to be Wrighty.
I do love Righty. I do love Righty.
Can't not love Righty. Who doesn't love Righty? Maybe
Racists.
Spurs fans, but
Racists.
Spurs,
Yeah.
racist and Spurs fans. But who cares what they think?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we have 2 spots free. Who would I go for? This is the trouble.
Like you were like pushing for Ozil earlier on, so
I
he's
was.
gonna get.
Yeah, I was pushing for Ozil, but the problem is, like, I'm concerned that whichever striker doesn't make the bench, somebody out of either Wright or Aubameyang will miss out. So I'm kind of like concerned
over Aubameyang every day, every day.
I guess that makes that easy. So okay, I will put Ozil on the bench. He'll be my fan favourite, and then it'll be Ian Wright on the bench ahead of Aubameyang. Not bad going, lads. I have to say, it's a pretty. I think it's probably a stronger bench than the Liverpool team, all things considered. Because yeah, we kind of like may have went a bit overboard with the fan favourites on that one, but I think we've got some good quality in this squad. Be interested to see who would actually win in that setup, to be fair. So yeah, that is our team. Feel free to disagree with us on whichever podcast platform you're listening to this to. Everyone happy with their team? Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be sick on FIFA.
It actually would be. I'd love there to be an option to actually just like put the 2 teams together and see who wins. That would be fascinating. So yeah, there you have it, lads. This is apparently the ultimate Arsenal lineup and subs bench to go with it, and whichever manager. I've never heard of him before, but apparently he's pretty good. So that's the end of this special presentation from your friends here at Liquid Football. We might do a few more of these. Again, we're not like experts in other teams' history, so we'll feel a little bit underqualified. But we might like try something else instead of like a different club from the Premier League, so we don't come across.
Could I make a shout for an Arsenal women's Ultimate 11?
Ooh, that'd be a good one.
That could be a good one, yeah, indeed.
5 maximum allowed from 2007.
Yeah, that's the fun part, is trying to like wrangle something outside of that team. I mean, I'd say like you'd be spoiled for choice with the current Arsenal lineup, but you only have like 7 players, so I don't think you will be all. I don't think you'd be all right with that one.
Like one good thing about this coronavirus is allowing for the Arsenal women to actually become uninjured, as long as they stay healthy.
Yes,
the other tab.
As long as they don't actually catch the coronavirus. Yeah.
As I say, that's a very big caveat at the minute. Okay, so that's the end of the show then. Hopefully we'll be back next week with something similar. If not, we might just contrive another gimmick to keep this show going until real football comes back at some stage next decade. So until then, guys, thank you for listening.
Wash your hands.
Yes, stay safe and don't look at old people or else they'll die or something like that. I don't know what the advice is anymore. So I guess
seems like it is. All right.
Right, that was Liquid Football. Bye.
Woo!
Bye.